What is up, Black World? You're here with your boy Chris, and today we're going to discuss my top 10 picks for books that will spark growth in masculinity. I'm doing something a little different today. Today we're going to do 10 book recommendations, but I'm not going to go in depth because what I want to do is provide you with the maximum value in the shortest amount of time. So I'm not going to have a 20-minute video about these 10 books. If you're a lady, this doesn't mean tune out. If you have a male interest in your life, father, husband, grown son, a man who you would like to sharpen that steel for, stay tuned because I have some great book recommendations in this video. All right, without further ado, let's get started. My first book recommendation is going to be You Cant Hurt Me by David Goggins. I've read this book personally. I have it. I have the ebook. I don't have the physical copy. This book is amazing. This book is about grit. David Goggins is from a broken home. He suffered abuse, low self-esteem. He was overweight. Long story short, he goes into the Navy SEALs and goes through the SEAL training with some of the toughest military training, and he does it several times because he doesn't make it the first time. Book is all about grit. Book is all about overcoming what you can do, those mind tricks that you can do as a man to overcome some of the things that you may face, whether it be at home or whether it be in your financial or personal futures. The next book I'm going to recommend is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. All right, Chris Voss was if I do remember correctly, he worked for the FBI. He was a negotiator for the FBI, and this book is all about negotiation. If you don't know, negotiation is extremely important, all right, because you negotiate through all aspects of your life. You negotiate your labor if you go to work for somebody. You negotiate with your employees if you have employees under you. Life is all about give and take. This book is going to make you a better negotiator. It's going to make you handle certain situations a lot better, whether you're going to negotiate for that new vehicle, or you have a relationship and you want to negotiate a certain issue with your spouse or lover. Men, this book is going to be the one for you. All right, the next book I'm going to recommend is called No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover. I just recently completed this book actually a couple days ago. The book is really good. This book talks about the nice guy syndrome. It talks about you taking what you want and putting it on the back burner for, let's say, your family or something else, and then next thing you know, you become resentful. All right, so No More Mr. Nice Guy is a book that talks about putting you and your masculinity first so you can better serve your family and your loved ones. All right, this is a big psychological book, and I highly recommend it. All right, No More Mr. Nice Guy. Go ahead and check that one out. All right, the next one is a classic that should be on everybody's shelf regardless. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. We are slowly sharpening ourselves for abundance, financial abundance, physical abundance, emotional abundance. Think and Grow Rich is one of those type of books that will mold your outlook on life so you can get out there and really just chase that wealth and believe that it's obtainable. All right, so if you've listened or read anything about self-help books or been in that community for a while, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is a masterpiece, and it's a classic that belongs on anybody's shelf, and I think that's a great pick for my 2020 list of how to spark growth in men. Check that one out. The next book recommendation that I have is The Alchemist. All right, look up The Alchemist. I don't know how to pronounce this person's last name. Paulo Coelho. I don't know. Correct me on that in the comments. I'm not going to go too in depth about what The Alchemist is about, but all I'm going to tell you is The Alchemist taught me to pay myself first. It tells you how to prioritize, how to budget, and it does it in a fun way. So it's not like reading a boring financial book. If you want to sharpen yourself, this is a book for you. It is a classic. It's a book that you can hand down to your children. The next book I'm going to recommend is The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. All right, The Power of Habit is a very good book, and this is why. It teaches you how to go in and manipulate and change some of the habits we've developed as adults. It's something that you can give to somebody and they can read this knowledge and then go back and address some of the things that they might want to change in themselves. So what Mr. Duhigg is saying is that you can systematically go in and identify the bad habits that you have, and yes, you can change them. So old dogs can learn new tricks with this book. The next book that we have is going to be called Extreme Ownership. I love this book because what this book is centered around, it's a military written book by special forces, gentlemen who go out and do these extreme missions, and they went through this extreme training. But what Extreme Ownership talks about is accountability, and that's something that we need to have today. All right, we need to be 100% accountable in whatever we do and how, and whatever the outcome is of the things that we do, whether good or bad. Like, having accountability is everything. So the book talks about waking up, making your bed, doing the things that make you accountable, doing the things that's going to spark your growth as a male. I highly recommend this book. If you know something about me, I have a military background, so I'm all into the, some of the macho military type books where they're going out and doing things. But this book is a great recommendation for those who like action. It's a great recommendation for that male who wants to sharpen that steel and become a greater leader, a greater father, a greater husband, boyfriend, spouse, whatever it may be. We're at number 8 in the list, and the next one the next book I'm gonna recommend is called The Richest Man in Babylon. This book is amazing. It's been around for a long time as far as the self-help category, and it is a classic. The Richest Man in Babylon talks about taming your personal finances. I love financial books because I love what they've done for my life, so I'm gonna recommend The Richest Man in Babylon. It's all about, it gives you financial help, but through a story type narrative. So if you're into that type of stuff, definitely recommend it. It needs to be on your shelf. Toss it down to your kids, all right? It's a classic. The 9th book that I'm gonna recommend to spark growth in any man in 2020 is gonna be The 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. If you wanna know who Jordan Peterson is, feel free to just type in his name and on YouTube. He has some of the most inspirational lectures out there right now on the internet. If you want to get some of the knowledge that he preaches in the book before you even get your book, like while you're waiting for the copy, go ahead and look at some of his lectures that are out there. You will learn some things. You will actually get sharp just from watching his lectures. But definitely the book. I think I did the ebook on this one. It's really good. It goes really in depth. So whatever your pleasure. This book talks about 12 rules of life, and I'm not going to go into them because I want you to actually read the book because it's really good. I'm going to recommend number 10. Now this one might be cliche because it's on a lot of lists out there. It's on a lot of number of lists, but I'm going to recommend it anyway. That book is The 48 Laws of Power. All right. Some people look at this book as manipulative because the book can seem very manipulative. Some of the rules, if you apply them in your life, things can get a little shady, but it's up to you to discern what rules you want to apply and what rules you don't want to apply. At the end of the day, you need to know the rules, because if you encounter somebody who's playing by these rules and you're game goofy and don't know them, you could get did over, whether in your relationship or whether in your work life, your occupation where you're trying to rise up the ladder. You can get did over if you're playing against somebody who knows these rules and you don't know them. So steel sharpens steel. This book will spark growth in any man in 2020, and so I recommend it as a personal read, and I also recommend it as a gift. 48 Laws of Power. I'm gonna have the link in the description. Go ahead and read that. Once you read that, go ahead, come back here and let me know what you think about that crazy book, man. I'm not gonna give too many little snippets away. We're here to sharpen that masculinity. We're here to grow that. These have been my 10 book recommendations to sharpen your masculinity in 2020, man. Go ahead and read these books if you like them. If you've already read the books, go ahead and tell me what you think about the books without going too in depth, because we want those to read these books. But these have been my 10 books for growth. With that, I'm gonna leave the links with you down here in the comments, and let me know about these books. All right, peace.